In terms of the exam, we are all familiar with our exam. There's nothing much to talk about here. We all understand the breakdown of our exam. But the current exam is broken down in 3 sections: Section A, Section B, Section C. 15 objective test questions at 2 gives us 30. 3 short scenarios. Each scenario has got 5 questions, each one of them carrying 2 marks. So that gives us another 30. Section C, we've got 2 20-mark constructive response questions, and that gives us a 40. Any comment? Yes. We don't need so much of computer skills here. Yes, it's a computer-based exam, but in section A and B, the 60 marks, as most of you know, don't call for very notable computer skills other than the ability to move from question to question and to navigate between questions. The ability we need is to move from question to question and navigate through the paper. That's all. That's all we're looking for. It's in section C where we are now going to type using your word and spreadsheet. So that is a section that may say that, yes, I need some serious computer skills. You need to manipulate your word processor and also your spreadsheets. But also it's quite well guided. It's well guided. The portions you are going to fill in, if the question requires a spreadsheet, you find that it's arranged there for you, word process arranged there for you. And for this level of paper, some guide now is given, a lot of guide is given. So for instance, a table is started for you. So in terms of formatting, the examiners are really guiding us in section C on this paper. So it's nothing to worry about, really. For skills level papers, you cannot say, maybe my computer skills were not so much. For 60 marks is all more or less objective testing. And this is why I say that what is critical is technical knowledge. Because to answer these questions correctly, you need to understand the techniques well. In terms of the syllabus areas that you are looking for, they're here. So these are our syllabus areas. When we say that all of us must have a look at the syllabus and make sure that we are happy with the syllabus. This is the summary that we are looking that we have in mind here. Area A, B, C, D, and E. F really is the use of the computer, which is implied when you do the practice. So this is not an area which you need to study per se, but it's a reminder of technology skills such as navigating through the question paper, responding to the question paper using the spreadsheet and word processors that you use at work. So in terms of the core areas of the syllabus, some introductory information systems there, specialized course management techniques here, decision making, budgeting and control, and the area called performance measurement and control. And what we know is that one of the questions by and large in section C will come from this area. What we know is that by and large in section C, one of the questions time and again, it has come from this area. And therefore, for the purpose of our revision, that's the area which we have chosen. That's the area that we're going to start with. because almost everyone knows that it's very likely that one of the questions I'll answer in section C of my paper will come from here. So that is the reason there. Okay, so that's the area of the syllabus which we have chosen, and that's one that we're going to start from in our revision. So let us now make a move to this area of the syllabus. So that's the area of the syllabus. That's the area of the syllabus. Yeah. Now we need to have a way of sharing this information. We need to have administratively or logistically, we need to have a way of sharing this information. So what are we going to do? Any suggestion in terms of technology, how we can share the information? So as we have said that the section C question is likely to come from here. So it makes a lot of sense for us to start from an area where all of us are likely to answer a question. Yeah, so I will say that this area of the syllabus really is one which directly addresses the title of the course. If you look at the questions that we're getting on this exam, we're not getting management accounting questions. And this way, sometimes we see a problem because people approach PM with management accounting attitude. No, there was a time when PM was management accounting. It's not management accounting anymore. The emphasis is on performance. That is why you see the type of scenario they give us, the emphasis is on performance. So you people are being primarily trained to be performance consultants. You people are being equipped with skills over how to help organizations improve performance. So PM is about improving performance of organizations. And the people who play a very important role in helping improving the performance of organizations are people like you who got the skills that we get on this paper. Now, one area of the syllabus where the concept comes out very prominently is in area E. So what is area E all about? Area E is about private sector organization performance. Now, the private sector organization performance does extend also the concept of divisional performance. So these two, you can argue that it's really the same sector with additional features here. Then we've got another type of organizations, which is called the not-for-profit organizations, where the biggest player is the public sector organizations. This area of the syllabus has got two main elements. What are those two main elements? It's the concept of financial performance and non-financial. So these are the two main areas of this syllabus: financial and non-financial. The public sector organizations here, these are the primary users of non-financial approach. But what we know is that even the private sector organizations here, these organizations don't only limit themselves to financial performance, they're also going to non-financial performance. And that's what we want to talk about. Traditional financial performance for the private sector has hovered around what you call a traditional ratio analysis. So when you come to this area of the syllabus, the first thing that you do is you focus on financial performance in the private sector. So this is the financial performance in the private sector. So these are private sector organizations. And traditionally, we appraise financial performance using ratios. So the starting point in your revision, you can actually start from this area. And the good thing with PM, you can start studying PM from anywhere. You can start studying PM from anywhere. Some of the students are on this program whom I've been taking the past few months. Remember that is where we started from. So even yourself in your revision, you can start from financial performance and you start with your traditional ratio analysis. Traditional ratio analysis answers the question, how are we faring as an organization in terms of profitability? So traditional financial performance answers the question, are we profitable? Do we have adequate liquid resources? Where are we as far as financial risk is concerned? What are investors saying? Now, want to be exam relevant. Do we get this type of questions in PM? Do we get this kind of questions in PM where we have a traditional ratio analysis? Primarily, the answer has been no. We don't get questions that we want you to go through all these. There's a traditional type of question that you should prepare for here. However, notice that, however, we saw a change in December 2021, sorry. In the December 2021, that has been published, I would call what we saw there a departure to a real traditional analysis, which one should talk about profitability, talk about liquidity, talk about financial risk and investor ratios. So maybe this is an indication of the fact that that's where our paper is going. Maybe going forward, that's where the paper is going. So in the December 2021 paper, we saw these ratios here. Let's talk about them now. Let's talk about these traditional ratios. Profitability. You all know that to assess profitability, what are your core ratios? It's your ROS. The ROS is your core ratio. That's your core ratio, which is further split into two items. What is that? That is a asset turnover. Asset turnover. Asset turnover. And also your profit margin. Profit before interest and tax compared to your sales. Your sales over your capital employed. And when you multiply those two, you get back to your return on capital employed. So primarily, the profitability of the company is measured by looking at your ROS, the asset turnover, and the profit margins. So that's how we do that. What of liquidity? How do we measure liquidity? The liquidity of the company is measured primarily by using your current ratio. Current assets to current liabilities. This is our primary ratio. And better still, we go further into your quick ratio. Current assets to remove the stocks or the inventory to current liabilities. Earlier on, when we are teaching, we are not even talking about these items. We thought, no, it would be a waste of students' time to talk about them. But not anymore. Not anymore. What we saw in the September, December published papers, we may find that on this paper, you need to also talk about the current ratio and also the quick ratio. We know that this is fully examined in FM, but if the examiner wants to go further, he may ask us to calculate the receivable days. The payable days. And the inventory days. So if the examiner becomes a bit excited, maybe they may want to go that direction. Although these we know that they are covered primarily or fully in FM. This is where these are covered. So going forward, the advice used to give us tutors that don't bother so much about liquidity ratios. Maybe that advice is not sound anymore. Yeah. Before we ask you to have a look at the question that came, let us conclude the other two ratios that we have here. Financial risk. Financial risk, really, one would argue that is more financial management, but the examiner wanted you to tell us as a performance expert, how do we measure financial risk? The level of debt finance in the company. So we can use interest cover. So interest cover can work very well here to measure the level of financial risk. Interest cover, profit before interest and tax over interest. The gearing ratio also should work here. The level of debt finance to equity or the level of debt to debt plus equity. We can either use that one or we can use that one for financial risk. But another type of gearing was asked for in December, and that was operational gearing. Operational gearing, the examiner wanted you to also talk about the operational gearing. Operational gearing does not measure financial risk. It measures business risk. Operational gearing is not a measure of financial risk. It's a measure of business risk. But as a performance consultant, you need to know the link between the operational gearing and financial gearing. A company cannot run with these two types of gearing and survive. Operational gearing is linked to your cost structure. So this is mainly attributable to the cost structure that you have in your organization. And which type of cost? The fixed cost. So the fixed costs, as you know, are problematic or they're dangerous, and therefore use them to measure the level of business risk. A small drop in business activity, e.g., owing to COVID, leaves you completely exposed if you're operating with a high level of fixed cost. Now that's how the wisdom which you performance consultants should tell us, that organizations which operate with high level of fixed costs are extremely exposed to business fluctuations, aren't they? So how do we measure operational gearing? Contribution divided by profit before interest and tax. And this is a number. The higher the number, the higher the level of operational gearing. Operational gearing measures your business risk. And it's mainly created by the cost structure, where organizations which operate with a high level of fixed cost have got a higher exposure to business risk. Operational gearing also is acceptable that we can measure it using this relationship, fixed cost to total cost. What proportion of total cost is fixed in your business? So primarily, we use that one, but we can also use this one. Okay, we are doing an objective test question. Maybe next time around, operational gearing will be in our objective test questions. What of investor ratio? We've got plenty of investor ratios. We have plenty of investor ratios. The investor ratios that we can talk about the common one, the EPS. Dividend cover. Dividend payout. There are some of the ratios we can talk about. Earnings per share, dividend cover, dividend payout. These help to tell us what our investors are really saying. Return on equity, you can also use it. Profit after tax. Profit after tax divided by the shareholders' funds. Your profit after tax that you have made divided by the shareholders' funds. That's your return on equity. Okay, so these are some of the traditional ratios there. Now, let me check your knowledge here. You put before you a question. It's not just for us to do it, but also to underscore things that I mentioned at the beginning of this revision. At the beginning, I mentioned certain things that I want to still underscore. What are those? Here's my slide. Past exam paper practice. when I get people wanting to join me for revision, I ask a question. Have you gone through the last 3 papers? Have you done them yourself again and again? You get the answer, no, I haven't. Surely that's not a very good strategy. So why I brought this question paper is to show you that indeed, when you're learning some topics, you don't have to go to the book per se. If you're attending tuitions, once the tutor has explained those traditional ratios, the next thing is hit the questions, Spend more time on the question. That's exactly the message you want to put across, right? Good. So now let's go back to that particular question. Okay, so let's share. Okay, so the question is there. Now let me just send something to friends who have just joined. Some people are just joined, so we need to send something to them. Okay. So those who have just joined, okay, those who have just joined, I'll just send you the link. Please join via that link. Just click on the link so that you join. That's why you find this question paper. That's why you find the question paper. Somebody can just repost the question paper. One of us should just repost the question paper for those who have just joined there. For our friends who have just joined. Just repost that question paper. Could somebody be so kind to us to do the posting? Let's look at the question that came here. Okay, good. Let's look at the question here together. Analyze the financial performance of the 2 airlines, including reasons for the difference in the 2 business performance. How many things are being asked for here? How many things are being asked for here? The one thing, are you to talk about the financial performance, including reasons. Now, do you know those people who got 48? Or even 49? Why the examining team will leave you here? The marker is looking for reasons. He can't see a single reason. And this here says that these are the people that will leave at 49. One time I asked a question, why should somebody get a 49? And I was assured that the 49 is a script of interest. It's a script which has been reviewed, and the decision has been made that no, 49 is okay. What could be some of the reasons? Some of the reasons is what you see here. No reason given. It is this that it's a 48. Where somebody wants to give you a mark and says, if you had just mentioned some reason for the differences, why the performance is different, I could have given you the 1 mark. that you needed. So the lesson here is that please, let's read our questions very carefully. Read the questions very carefully. And when there's the 2 or so aspects, you address those. I'll shortly be taking you to an examiner's report, which emphasizes that. Now, note, use the headings of profitability, liquidity, and the risk to structure your answer. Like we have said that we haven't had the question of this type of financial analysis in a long time. This is not ACCA question on PM, it's the first time. But the examiners were very friendly. The examining team says, let's guide the students. All of you use the headings, and you can see this is the word processor here. So they will put the word processor. This is what you're going to use. They put it here for you. Nicely write the subheadings. Now, maybe in the next sitting, they will not now put this for you. Why? Why the examining team puts this is to guide you. Next time around, they hope that everybody has gone through this, and everybody now knows that if a question comes on financial analysis, do headings. So they may not give you this reminder, they'll just give it to you. Okay, so this is our question here. Profitability, liquidity, and risk. So let us see some of the numbers that we have here. Let's look at some of the numbers that we have here. Here we go. From the information given, can you do a return on capital employed? Can you do for me return on capital employed, profit margins, and asset turnover? Please, can you quickly do that? All of you on the call, and what I'm convinced is that all of you have got your laptops on. Under the exam dispensation, what I expect is that laptops, we have got how many are we? There's 19 of us. I expect that if I remove my 2 here, there must be 17 laptops out there or desktops, which are open as this revision is going on. And of course, you've got your notebook there, your calculator there also. With that, I see you being very fast in doing your ROS computation. So you do your ROS, your asset turnover, and also your profit margin. Please, can you do so quickly? For the 2 companies, that one and that one. Can you do so quickly, please? So this was the return on capital employed, operating profit margin, and asset turnover. Yes, please, Rita.
Sir, can you just kindly assist with the actual computation for capital employed?
The capital employed figure.
Yes.
The capital employed figure, okay. I saw somebody who posted it, I saw, let's see. Oh, it was you who posted. Let's see what
I managed to get the profit margin.
Oh, your profit margins there. Let me check. Yeah, I can see 10.6 and okay, good. So let's go.
Mo.
Okay, let's go there. For F,
Missed this part.
For F, oh, we're getting some feedback. I'm getting some feedback. Let's check where is it coming from. Some feedback. Okay. Okay, we have managed to get around that feedback. Like this. Okay, let's go. So if you've got your, oh, I need to change the setting here. Okay, so here's the question. So your profit before interest and tax, which is operating profit, is here. That's your operating profit. Then you come here, you pick your non-current liabilities. There you are, and there you are. Total equity, there you are, and there you are. So please, can you add up these two? Add up these two. Add up these two. So that divided by these two. And that divided by these two. What answer do you get? Please, can you get involved? Can you get involved?
It's clear now. I'm getting 12.8%.
You have done well to ask. We're asking for many. You don't ask one person. So when there's something you ask, remember I said that many students have got a problem with which figure? The capital employed. Even when I teach APM, we normally get a challenge there with capital employed figure. But the same students, when we are doing F9 or FM, they get it very well. There's another hand which is up.
Good morning, sir. I've got a question.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, so when calculating the capital employed, what about the formula for total assets less current liabilities? Is it applicable as well?
You get the same thing. Because from, you see your assets are funded by liabilities and equity. Now all we are saying that just remove current liabilities because short term you put by the side.
Okay, when I did that, I got different figures. I was a bit confused.
When you go total assets, let's see, current liabilities.
Current liabilities, yes. My rows was different from the solution.
15,376 minus 57 is different. Hello?
Hello, I'm calculating them again.
15,376 minus 57.
Yeah, it's giving a slightly different answer. So I wanted to know whether it's giving a difference of 0.1%.
That's very small.
So it doesn't matter whichever formula we use because it gives almost the same answer.
But the answer is almost the same, isn't it?
Yes, it's giving me 12.8 instead of 12.7.
Okay, no, that's okay. No, that's pretty all right.
All right, okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, another hand is up. Oh, that's the one which was there before. Let me check what the profit. Kingsley is profit before interest and tax. And let's be talking about these things. Kingsley is profit before interest and tax. Kingsley, Ross is profit before interest and tax, which is the same thing as operating profit. Profit before tax, no. It's profit before interest and tax. Kingsley, have you picked that one? All right, please, profit before interest and tax. And capital employed figure, even in APM when I teach, you find that people struggle to get, even in AFM, people struggle to find capital employed. But I normally say just go for debt and equity. And equity, please cover both share capital and the reserves. Okay, let's just tidy up this. My message here is that now you have seen where the question came from, and we have warned you that this may be repeated in the future. What is it that may be repeated? A much broader financial analysis. In the past, they never gave us, SCA never gave this to PM students. This kind of statement, no. What was it that they gave you? That's our next part of discussion. Let's discuss now the traditional question. Because next time maybe they'll say, this one, no, we go back to the traditional question. So what's the traditional question? Let us go back to our week now, before we can take a break. Those who came early, I'm sure, want to take a break now. Those who have just come in, they don't need a break because they've just come in. Yeah. So we keep our recordings short.